Hello. This is going to be our new moon and eclipse collective reading and ritual. So if you're watching this, grab a journal, grab some tea, some coffee, some water, something to sip on. And we're going to do a collective reading. We're also going to go over a little ritual to do. We're going to talk a little bit about the energy. For those watching live, you guys can chime in and ask questions. For those who are watching this later, you may be hearing a little bit about the questions asked on the live and things like that. But happy you guys are all here. Happy eclipse. Happy new moon. Mercury retrograde. I'm not an astrologist, so I'm not going to talk super deeply about the astrological events, but I am going to talk a little bit about the energy. So thank you guys for being here. I'm going to wait a few minutes just for people to hop on. My countdown timer had the wrong time, even though my announcement said 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So I'm hoping that people got the memo by now. So thanks guys for being here. Say hello. How is the energy treating you guys? How's it been? We kind of have a lot going on. It doesn't have to be negative, right? It can be a positive experience, but it's good to know and be familiar with the energies. Like Mercury retrograde, I'm just going to go over this quickly since we're in it right now. But one of the things I always like to remember is to take my time. So, when I'm going someplace or when I'm, taking a trip or just anything, I give myself more time. Because there's more likely chances that there will be like delays and things like that. So, pay attention to those types of things. Give yourself more time. Give yourself more time to get places. Give yourself some compassion, some grace. Hi, you guys. Okay. Dima, hello. Rough, intense. Okay. Yeah, I know the energies are pretty intense. I'm not gonna lie. It's an intense time, but I like to look at it as like transformative, because it's like there's so much happening here that is transforming us. And I always go back to that term of like growing pains, because like sometimes growth is painful or sometimes growth is uncomfortable. But I think that that's what this eclipse and this new moon, even Mercury retrograde is like here to teach us. It's here to help us shift, in bigger ways. So obviously sometimes it can feel like somebody's ripping the teddy bear away from you and you're like, I'm not ready to let it go. But, so Mercury retrograde, some things that I like to remember. I just give myself more time to get places. I'm more intentional. When it comes to communication, I make sure that I communicate as clearly as possible. And obviously, I have my own business that heavily relies on communication. So, I double check things, appointment times. I make sure that I'm as clear as I can be when I'm messaging and interacting with clients. And I also just hold space and grace for those moments when somebody maybe my client gets the time wrong or misunderstands me, right? It's okay. It doesn't need to be a huge confrontational moment. It can be a moment where we hold grace and space for the fact that like right now the energies are just kind of like messing with communication, and it's okay. So give yourself more time, give yourself more compassion. Double check things, before you communicate something, make sure that it's exactly what you mean. So we have that energy present, and then we also have this solar eclipse that we just had on the new moon in Aries. And so I want to talk just a little bit about the astrology. So we had the new moon and the solar eclipse on the same day in the sign of Aries, and Aries is like the baby of the zodiac. It's the first one. So it's the beginning, right? And there's also this like impulsive, sometimes childish or bratty energy that can happen with Aries influence. So like there could be a little bit of like people could be acting a little out of hand, right? Reactive, almost like no filter, or like kind of childish. It's okay. That could be you, that could be others. Just holding space for this energy of like newness, and that childlike energy of Aries that's coming through this solar eclipse and this new moon is bringing upon newness. It's like the birth, like we're birthing new things. It's the new chapter. We're coming into this new energy. So just having space and grace with others during this time. This can be really amazing. This could be the time where we have really intense clarity and passion to go forth with a new project or move into a new direction. So there's a lot of this like fiery, really exciting energy that's here to support us with this new change or with this birth. You could finally get to a point to where you're like, I'm ready to put this project out into the world. I'm ready to do the thing. There's energy kind of propelling us with this newness, with this solar eclipse, with this new moon. So, I'm feeling that within myself, and chime in if you're feeling that as well. But, the transformation is heavy, and there's motivation to either get back to old things that were really good. And it can look different for everybody. For me, it doesn't look like crazy and intense. There was a time in my life where I practiced yoga like 2 times a day, and I was like just devoted to this practice so deeply, and I'm feeling called to go back to that. So for me, it's not like adventures and crazy. It's really about like adventuring the inner world and getting into a practice that just feels like so good and resonant for me and my energy. So for me, it's coming back to a practice that felt really good and really like aligned with like who I am, right? For others, this could be like a brand new project. It's different for everyone, right? So it's important to remember that these influences can affect everybody differently. So I want to talk about our ritual. I want to talk about like how we're going to utilize this energy. It's going to look a little different than it has before, because right now I don't think it's not necessarily the time to just be like, put all of our, energy into manifesting into this one thing. I feel it's more about receiving and tapping in. So, adventuring the inner world. Yeah, no, absolutely. Isn't that funny? Like I live in my van and I travel full time, but I'm like less inclined to want to explore the outer world and more inclined to explore the inner, which is really cool. I love that I'm having that reflection, because it's so easy to like slip into just like constant newness. And I am so grateful for this experience. I love it. I'm not dissatisfied at all. I just am like, okay, but what about the inner world? What about the things that maybe I've been a little distracted from? So yeah, really good stuff. Maybe the zodiac energy of Aries, would it say is good time to honor inner child energy and play? Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. The light side of the Aries energy is like, it's like the Fool card in tarot, right? It's brand new. It's excited. It just came out of the womb. It's never been here before. It's ready to go get it. It's not jaded. It's also not experienced, right? And it's playful and it's youthful, and it brings this new, beautiful energy into our projects and like what we're doing. So yes, absolutely, for play. And then the dark side of the Aries energy for this is like, it could be childish or a little immature or impulsive, right? So it's important to remember, the duality of everything. And I tend to focus more so on the positive things that could come in with this energy, while having an awareness of maybe the more negative influences. But yes, it's a good time for play. It's a good time to tap into that energy of like fresh out the womb energy, for sure. So the ritual that I would like to suggest, and you can do this on your own time, but you're going to get out a journal and just leave the page blank. You could put like new moon eclipse, divine guidance, something like that. But essentially you're going to leave the page blank. If you have a candle, we're going to be working with the fire energy, but we're going to be working with, tapping into our intuition and like envisioning. So if you have a candle, like I have a candle here, you're going to light the candle and you're going to put the candle in front of you. Make sure that, it's in a safe space. And you're basically just going to drop into a meditation. You can play music if you want. However you meditate, feel free. It's best if you're sitting, because the whole point of lighting this candle and having this journal out is that you're going to like basically stare into the flame. Your eyes can be like almost closed, and you're going to have that vision of the flame. Just, your eyes can be like barely open or wide open. You can like stare into it, whatever feels right for you. But really tapping into this fiery energy, connecting with the element of fire. And then with this journal, what you're going to do is you're going to basically write down any of the guidance that comes through. If you're not experienced with really tapping into your intuition or like listening to that guidance, just give yourself a lot of grace and compassion. Okay. Like your thinking mind might be doing stuff. You might not be able to determine, like, is it intuition? Is it a thought? It's okay. Just write it all down, hold space. Try to avoid judging what's coming through. Even if you know that it's just a thought, it's okay. Like, don't judge this process, because a lot of times when we are tapping into our intuition, that judgment can really hold back or restrict what kind of intuition really wants to come through. So you're going to light a candle, you're going to hold on to your little journal, and you're going to just tap in. And you're going to ask, you know, before you sit down, you can even set an intention and just say, please show me what it is that I need to know. Please show me what it is that I need to see. Please show me what is helpful. Maybe you're looking for direction, and you can be specific about, like, please show me what direction I need to move in. If you're lingering on a choice, you can ask about that. But really, you're just going to be asking this flame and asking this energy to channel whatever guidance is needed, whatever clarity is needed, and don't judge this process. And you're going to write it down as it comes through. Some like to write it down all at the end. Some like to write it down throughout. Remember that these practices are made to be how they feel resonant for you. So if it feels too structured to do it one way, do it a different way. I think that it's best to tap into how it feels the best for you. So there's no right or wrong way. Light a candle, sit down with your journal, be open to the guidance, set a little intention if you want for what kind of information you're looking for, or just openness to any information, and then write it all down. You know, new moons are typically really good for manifesting. Some say don't manifest during the eclipse. Some say do. I say trust yourself. I'm personally not feeling called to manifest right now. I'm feeling called to receive whatever is coming through, guidance, direction, information, because I think it's a really potent time for that clarity. So this is why I'm kind of guiding you guys into this ritual of receiving that information and clarity as well. Maybe through that clarity you find something you want to manifest, and if it feels resonant for you, go for it. I think it's important when we're manifesting to just remember that we don't ever want to be in the energy of like forcing or controlling, because that can really like hinder the effectiveness. So if it doesn't feel authentic for you to manifest right now, don't. If it does, do. I think it's going to be a little different for everybody. Does everybody feel clear on that ritual? Is that confusing? Is there anything? Please let me know. We're going to get into the collective reading portion of this. I know some of you guys said that it's been a little bit rough and intense. I'm also curious, for anyone else who's joined, how your experience has been so far with this solar eclipse and this new moon, and we have Mercury in retrograde, just the energies right now. What's going on for you guys? It's so interesting. We're talking about childlike play with the Aries energy, and I also feel like there could be childhood things resurfacing. I think that may have been a theme for a while now. So, okay. So I'm just going to set a little intention here, and we're going to pull some cards for this energy, for this eclipse, solar eclipse, and new moon in Aries. And we're just going to kind of see what comes through here. This has been highlighted for a while now, which kind of makes sense, being on like the Aries Libra axis, but connections, our personal connections, the way we relate to others, specifically personal relationships like romantic. I feel like that is something that's focused right now. So we could be deepening those connections. We could be deepening our understanding of how we relate to others. That could be tied into our childhood wounds as well. And maybe we're seeing like through childhood, like how our childhood and our family life is affecting our personal relationships now, the way we relate to others, right? Maybe codependency. You could be like, oh, both my parents are codependent. I'm codependent. Oh my gosh. And having these epiphanies. Childhood wounds surfacing for you now. Yeah, I definitely feel like there's a lot of that. And like as you say that, I just feel like it's like holding our inner child, giving it so much love and compassion. There's a beautiful meditation that you can do where you're basically just envisioning your small version of you climbing into your lap, and you're just holding them and giving them so much love, so much validation, maybe what they didn't have, what you didn't have at that time in your life. That can be something really beautiful to tap into right now with all of this childhood wounds resurfacing. It's like sitting down and holding space and holding this inner child, giving them what they needed. It can be really beautiful. Okay, so personal relationships. I also feel like there's this energy of like not knowing what decision to make. It's okay. There are literally periods of time in our life where like we don't actually need to know in that moment, you know, and I think that's another reason why I feel called to this ritual of just letting the information come instead of forcing it, instead of forcing a ritual right now. It's kind of like just letting yourself receive whatever information comes through. I think there's getting a lot of indications here of like shadow work in the shadow world and the wounds and really investigating that. But there's this emotional growth that's coming with it. It's not like we're suffering. It's like we're revisiting what needs to be released in order for us to move on, to, you know, be more free, to live more aligned and understand ourselves more deeply. So it's not like punishment. This reflection is actually just an opportunity for release. So if you don't know what decision to make right now, you feel kind of like, honestly, everything in me is saying, wait. It's okay. You don't have to know right this moment. You will know soon. This isn't going to be a like, you know, forever thing of like, it's not, you don't know. I don't know. It's just right now. Right now, we also have that Mercury retrograde. So things may not feel super clear. We may have a lot of ideas, or epiphanies. And we may not be like clear on like how we're going to get there. That's all right. That'll come. We're really being pushed and encouraged to lean into our shadows and our wounds and process and feel and really dive into all of that so that we can grow more emotionally, so that we can hold more space, so that we can align more with like these beautiful things that are in the future. We also have the sun. Like, the sun is just like the best energy possible to come through. And that comes through after we're talking about like reevaluating our personal connections with other people, after this energy of not knowing exactly what decisions to make, and after the shadow work and the wounds and the darker, deeper parts of ourselves. And after the emotional growth, we move into this beautiful energy of the sun. I also feel like this connects to the energy of summer. So like when we're really getting into summer, I feel like we could be expecting to see a lot of the shadow work, growth, emotional growth, you know, the healing of wounds. We could start to see in the summertime all of that pay off. So you might be in a point right now where you're like, I don't know what choice to make or what direction to go in. It's like the path isn't even opened up yet. You know, you're kind of like trying to create one, which, you know, I think is kind of going against the flow. So the energy of the sun is what comes after all of this. And I feel like that's connected to summer. So really doing our inner work right now is probably the best thing that we could be doing for ourselves to set ourselves up for really launching in the summertime. That's what this feels like. And the clarity. Ooh, I just got goosebumps all over my back. And the clarity that's to come after healing, after reflecting, after releasing. Summer's not that long. It's not that far away. Like we're talking like a month or two of like doing inner work and just being in that energy and then having things kind of blasting off. So it's really not that long, you know, it's not like we're talking 8 months, we're talking 1 or 2. We're not talking about an eternity here. We're talking about a few months of introspection and healing. I feel like that's also why, like personally, I'm being called to explore my inner world. There are things I feel that are to be revealed and to be healed and to be released in that inner world. So a lot of us might be feeling that as well. You could be on a totally different chapter. That's totally okay. Really trust yourself and trust where you are at. I think that's super important to understand that these are energies that I'm picking up on and energies that I'm picking up for the collective, but it may not fully resonate with you, and that's okay. If you're on a different page, stay there. I don't think that there's like right or wrong. But there's so much clarity and sunshine and warmth to come in the summer after we do a lot of this work. And I want to also just say that like this inner work that we're doing right now, the wounds that may be coming up, like it's not bad. It's not bad to feel your emotions, to feel the heaviness of the past, to process. It's beautiful to be able to like feel life so deeply. So this isn't punishment. And I feel like I need to say that again and again and again, that what we're processing right now, like, we could even be rewriting old stories of like, you know, being victims of our reality and being like, oh, I actually have the ability to take power back in this situation from how I view it now and how I move forward. And there's just so much depth and beauty and growth and wonder to be had in healing the depth in the wounds and things like that. So don't be afraid to sit with it. Don't be afraid to dive a little deeper. Don't be afraid to explore. There's so much to be shown and learned within that. So I know I'm talking a lot about shadow work and wounds, and I don't want anyone to be afraid that this is like somehow negative. It's actually really beautiful and helpful. Gratitude, yes. Hello, how are you guys? I'm so grateful for you guys all being here. Whether you're watching it later or watching it now, I am very grateful for your presence. Okay. So, yeah, there's like a mixed bag, which I've kind of been picking up on a lot lately. It's kind of like we're going to have these moments of like, we're going to have these moments of like, it's kind of just like really riding the wave of the emotions. You know, it's like the ocean. I'm deeply connected to the ocean. I love the ocean. So I feel like I understand this reference. Maybe it won't land for everyone, but when you're, you know, out on the ocean and it's really rough, or if you're ever like lost at sea, the best thing that you can do is actually float on your back and not resist, because you're going to exhaust yourself trying to swim and up against the currents and the waves and things like that. So I feel like that's kind of what's happening right now with the energy, is like just letting yourself float with the ocean, and the ocean being like the emotions and maybe the roller coaster of the ups and downs and the currents and the waves. Letting yourself just float on your back, paying attention, letting it take you in whatever direction you need to be in. But knowing that it's a little bit of a mixed bag, you know? Sometimes the sun's going to come out and it's going to feel so good and you're just floating and being taken. And sometimes it's going to be like stormy and you're going to be like, oh, wow, it's really stormy right now. It's okay. It's all okay. Have a lot of grace and compassion for yourself. I feel like that is something that I'm being reminded of constantly right now, and feel inclined to share with you. Grace, compassion, love, self-love. You know, the dark and the light can't exist without each other. You know, it's just, the polarity exists in this world for a reason. And the more in tune we are with both worlds, you know, the more in flow we can live. And I just think it's so beautiful. Again, summertime feels like things are going to ramp up and really open up. Right now feels like kind of like I don't want to say calm before the storm, because that kind of makes it seem like it's going to be chaotic in the summer. It's not. It's going to be like a time where it's like pretty full on and exciting. So right now, if you're feeling called to be more introverted and introspective, it's a really good time for that. If anybody has like questions or like anything like that they want to talk about with this energy, please feel free to leave a comment. Now would be a good time. I feel pretty complete in regards to collective reading and energy, as well as the ritual. But if there's anything anyone wants to talk about with this energy, questions, let me know and we can look into it. I also feel, I mean, this kind of falls into play with the ritual, but it's a really good time to just be open to receiving whatever information comes through. Especially if maybe you're lacking clarity or direction. Like, I just think there's so much to be revealed during this time. And some of us may be ready to make decisions once we have that clarity. Some of us won't. And that's okay. Right now is kind of about like revelations and clarity and passionate inspiration. It's less about having to make all of the decisions and movement now. So really trust in what's revealed during this time, and how to move forward with it. Knowing that you don't have to do it all right in this moment. And thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so grateful for all of your guys' presence and comments. And yeah, I hope to see you all soon. And I hope that you do this ritual. Let me know. Let me know how it lands for you. Feel free to send me a DM if you're like processing what came through. A lot of times I get messages after like the ritual or things like that, where people have questions or just want to share their experience. And I always love hearing about it if it's something that you feel inclined to share. But enjoy. All resonated, matched up. Aw, Nat. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. I value you guys so much too. Thank you. I feel very seen and very appreciated, and I appreciate that so much. Self-care has been force focused lately. Manifesting is so cloudly now, and love the idea of going inward. Yes, so good. Take care of yourselves. I also feel for some of us, maybe not everybody, but for some of us, like sleeping and resting is going to be like something that's really necessary right now. So self-care, resting, turning inward, all of those things, however it resonates. Personally, I'm being called to move slow, to live slow, to be intentional. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's really beautiful. So a lot of us might be feeling that. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate you guys so much. My heart is very full. I'm really grateful that you guys are here. I hop on here and I don't ever know if anybody's going to attend, or if they're going to watch it later. So thank you. I feel very, very, very grateful and very, my heart's really full right now. Thank you guys for being here. I will talk to you guys all soon. Let me know if you do the ritual, if you feel inclined. Yeah, my inbox is always open for hearing about your experience or bouncing ideas off. But yeah, I love you all. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day and week, and I will see you all soon in some other way, okay? Bye.